Welcome to For Your Lore. I'm your host, John Adamick, and it's my pleasure today to welcome my guest, Paula Tamayo with Argon Core. Paula, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having
Well,
us.
you're welcome. I've been looking forward to this for several reasons. First of all, I'm absolutely fascinated by what you and your team do in the world of stage and combat choreography and safety for film, large and small films. And I've had a little introduction to this world through my daughter, Caitlin, who is an actress and attended one of your workshops. I think that was at Citizen Studios
Yes.
this
In
spring.
Wilmington.
Yeah, and she had a great time and learned a lot. And so my wife Janine and I were talking with her, and she was explaining some of the things that she learned about some things that might be useful in real life as well as
Mhm.
with a stage prop or something like that.
Mhm.
But then I also connected with Sean Naronia,
Mhm.
who is a writer director in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, and his film that he's got coming up, Blackout,
Yes.
is very exciting. And I told him, I said, I saw that you were involved with that, and I said, this is fantastic. These people are amazing. So that's kind of where my excitement stems from. I've got lots of questions because I know very little about any of this. Maybe we could start a little bit with you and
Mhm.
in your role with Argon Core, what Argon Core is about, your team, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Okay. Well, I grew up in the Philippines and I've started martial arts since I was 15 years old. But I do want to put it out there that I don't have a black belt because for me, it's more of a survival. Um, And when it comes to when I was doing tournaments, I felt like I was just constrained in a type of tournament type of form fighting. So that's why I went on my way and then just made sure that I am conditioned and my body is conditioned to do any type of martial arts. So right now, I am doing Muay Thai, and one of our teammates is actually a Muay Thai instructor and a Muay Thai fighter before, and his name is Matt, and he is my instructor as well. And as well as I'm doing Balintawak, it's another form of Kali or Eskrima. It's basically it's stick fighting,
Yeah.
and it is by my wonderful grandmaster, our wonderful grandmaster Bobby Tabuada, and I trained with him as much as I could, and of course with my other trainers for any type of martial arts, between from Russian martial arts all the way to boxing. So I just love that.
All right, so I'm gonna step in. This is my little connection here.
Mhm.
If you'd asked the people I went to school with in the 70s and 80s, they would say I obviously didn't get any skills or anything from my family, but my great uncle, my grandfather's brother, was a professional heavyweight boxer
Oh
who
wow.
trained, yeah, on his way to the heavyweight championship. They were grooming him to fight Lewis in the
Oh.
late 1930s. Yeah, if you go to Ring Magazine, you'll see Jimmy Adamick, and so my whole life I've grown up in this kind of a different appreciation for boxing. I,
Hmm.
but the idea of all of these different things that you discussed, um, it's interesting because there's a history for all of these. There
Hmm.
to me as an observer, they're as much art as they are, um, I guess, practical. It
Yes.
is that reasonable?
Yes, it is practical. Yes, yes. And the reason why I mixed martial arts together is because every martial arts is specific to a thing. Let's just say when somebody puts you down on the floor or the ground, you apply Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And so when you're standing up, you apply something else. And so that's why I mix those martial arts together. I'm not a mixed martial artist, but I think it's very important that you have to be adaptable in any type of scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your favorite type? If you could just for, I guess, just for personal satisfaction, could go and spend a half hour, an hour, practicing a certain art form, which one would it be?
Possibly Balintawak. It's Filipino martial arts. So because it you can mix it and you can interchange it with knives, you can interchange it with machetes. So that's why I like Balintawak. And the reason why I'm doing Muay Thai is because the stamina for Muay Thai and Balintawak are almost the same for me. And so it makes my wrist stronger when it comes to Muay Thai. And then if I just put sticks with that, it's going to be more powerful strikes.
So we're connected on Facebook, and I appreciate the opportunity to kind of get a glimpse into your world with that. And I think that it was the gentleman that you referenced, one of your grandmaster trainers. I think that's the term you used, and you two were working with sticks or something. And
Yes.
and I thought, okay, now I know you're all about safety, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but it's pretty intense. I mean, I would get in there and I would be absolutely concerned about getting hurt. That's just my first. So so you must be at a level, the two of you together, to know each other onto what level of intensity and what moves and all of that.
Yes, that is correct. Because in certain martial arts, when you're trying to spar or when you're training with somebody, you have to trust that person.
Yeah.
So from the very beginning of my grandmaster's teachings, he made sure that we trust each other enough to be able to do drills and to be able to be quick. Because even if you've been doing drills, if the teacher goes faster, you have to be able to trust yourself enough and to trust your teacher enough that nobody's going to get hit. Although, in my experience in the Philippines, it's very different because people there, you have to really hit someone to learn some for them to learn. But
I would learn that I should
yes,
not do that, whatever it is.
yes.
So, okay. So that's interesting because it's the awareness level. In
Mhm,
addition to knowing all of these moves and to recognizing opportunities for use of these, as you mentioned, changing between, whether you're on the ground or standing, or, what is the best type of I guess, maneuver to use. You, you're working with people, you're working with filmmakers
mhm,
who may or may not have a really good appreciation or understanding for what is involved with all of this. And you also are working with actors and actresses and
mhm,
helping them. Some, like I've noticed, you had a firearms class recently, I think, a firearms safety class and choreography. And I'd like to hear about that in a minute. But some of these, I mean, you're working with people who have no experience whatsoever, and
mhm,
taking them through the steps. So um, to me, it sounds like a lot. You use the word choreography, and I think of that. There's just so much going on at any one moment.
mhm.
Um,
Yes.
I'd like to hear a little bit about your philosophy on how you approach that. How do you keep all of these things in mind when you're working with somebody or a group of people?
Well, first things first is we have to understand their level of understanding when it comes to any type of weapons. That the reason why we use choreography is we want to make sure that they understood that it is just for choreography into the film industry for the film industry. And it's not something that you have to really go into the range. You have to have a proper instructor to do that. So what we do is to make sure that we have that differentiation, but at the same time, we also incorporate some real life scenarios there. So let's just say for the safety, any type of firearms, whether or not it's fake or real, you have to ensure that the student understands what the safety is.
Okay.
So, yes, because you don't want any accidents and you also don't want anybody to basically just say, "Oh, I'm an expert at this because Argon Core taught me." No, it's not that. It's because we
Mm.
do give them uh, a reference point that if they want to learn more, they can go to their range office, to the ranges like Point Blank or something, and they can go there and learn from an instructor. And yes, so that's what we do.
Yeah. All right. So I'd like to get maybe into your team dynamics because that's one thing that really stood out when I first I think I saw a notice. I helped Caitlin in some regards in terms of connecting with opportunities for her career. She's her own manager and all of that, but um, I'm on Facebook and she's not. And so I see these things, and I think I saw the first time I saw a posting, and I think it was for that workshop you did down at Citizen Studios, and there were different people on your team, and
Hmm.
it occurred to me these are people that really yourself included, but are really in this world. This isn't just some people coming together to
Hmm.
uh, do a pretend. I mean, you've got people, so they can't use their last names. They can't always show their face. I saw recently you posted some pictures of a class, and a couple of the instructors' faces were kind of blurred out, and that I have to say that just really intrigued me. So, what can you tell us about that?
Every single team member that we have our own specialty. Right now, I am doing sticks. Matt is doing Muay Thai. Nomad is the munitions. The tungsten is vehicle. And then Redman is our long range marksman. And my brother Paolo is our resident samurai. So, and the reason, yes, we have a samurai too.
I got no words for that. I'm just like, okay, I'm all ears.
Yes. And so the reason why we keep them anonymous is because of this world. It's a very different world, and we are just here to make sure that everybody is safe in the film industry. You cannot really th- we can't really delve so much into their backgrounds, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to keep the film industry in Charlotte alive, and we wanted to make sure that there's also realistic fight scenes when it comes to guns or firearms. Because if you go into if you go into watching movies about firearms, there are some times there that when we watch it, we just go, "Oh my God, that's not really that's not how it works." So it just kind of takes us out of that, and so we skip to another movie. We just watch like a funny movie instead.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. So part of my job for the last, I'm in my third decade, is safety, workplace safety. And
Yes.
so I don't get invited many places. You know, people don't want me to come because I'll always see something like a drop cord, you know, or something like that. They're like, all right, don't worry, John, we'll get that taken care of. But but I can't remove myself from that.
Mhm.
My family jokes about it. Like I'll be at home and I'm like, that's a trip hazard, you know?
Mhm.
And they're like, we just want to eat dinner, John. You know, can you just, you know, just relax and but you guys, all right, so you've got people who are in executive protection, you've got
Yes.
veterans of the armed forces, you've got people who have worked in different types of security
Yes.
backgrounds, you've got people who have been um,
Law enforcement.
law enforcement.
Mhm.
Um, so, how did you connect with these people, and how was Argon Core formed?
Okay, so we met each other in the airsoft field. So one of our team members introduced me to airsoft, and I totally loved it because one, it's a great workout. It's in Gunny's, so it's called Gunny's Warfare Center, and that's where we found each other. And then it's a great workout, and you learn tactics, certain tactics, and plus the fact that when you're the reason why I wanted to do airsoft as well was because I wanted to understand the level of stress about like getting hit with BBs and then running and then just constant running, and I want to feel that stress. And then we connected there, and then I told them I'm an actress. At that time I wasn't even doing so much stunt work, and it was just more like, oh, it's just acting. They put me into action movies instead of just drama because apparently I can do that. And so and I told them, are you guys interested in doing this? And it's like, yes, sure, that's fine. And then we were already doing a couple of stuff for 5 years or 4 years, I believe. And then we just never went to this level where we show people what we can do. It was just more word of mouth. And then when we decided that there needs to be a little bit more safety in the Carolinas, because we've heard a couple of productions that did not have any type of safety at all for firearms, and so we just wanted to step in and like help out because independent films is very different from Hollywood. So that's what we cater to. We cater to, from our experience, from our passion. We just wanted to make sure that everybody is safe and everybody is alive at the end of the day after production.
Yeah, thank you. That's really interesting. And I find it so the idea that somebody who reaches a certain level of expertise is always looking to um, like yourself, always looking to grow and improve, try different things, get a different understanding of how all of this fits together. And
Mhm.
when my daughter started in film, she has been pursuing it for several years and growing in her skills and continuing to take classes in an actors group. And so I got watching that and I thought, it's really interesting how much is involved in making a film. What are some of the elements that you feel are most helpful to independent filmmakers that Argon Core can add that they would not readily get themselves?
I can think of two things. One, how you properly move. Let's just say for firearms, there's a certain way on how you really move with the firearms when you're holding it. And then second, making sure that firearms, again, you at least run out of ammo. Because that always, you can always see that in movies that the person, the good guy, never runs out of ammo. So I'm like, what what is going on? Why is there nonstop like rounds coming out on the side? And then
Yeah,
it's so weird.
yeah. What are a couple of your favorite films?
Scarface. Scarface, the Godfather trilogy.
Wow. Yeah, that is intense. What is it about those movies that captures your attention?
It's just the reality that attracts me to it because if you, I think it was Don Carleone when he got hit. There's a hitman that went after him, and it was like on the side of a deli, and when that hitman shot him, he went down like the realistic way of going down if you shoot someone. You know, it's not really like shoot and they go. It's not like that. It's like there's different. It's that's way too exaggerated. But the way he went down when he got hit, it was just like wonderful because of it was so it could happen. That's what I'm trying to get at. It could happen in real life,
Okay.
and yes, and it's the way of thinking and with those types of people in that era too, because they want to make sure that they own certain areas of the city, and it's just totally organized, but at the same time scary. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah. Well, I also appreciate realism. I like to immerse myself in a movie. I prefer action movies,
Mhm.
some dramas, um, but I do like the idea of a well-developed story and specifically well-developed characters caught in these unusual, almost impossible situations where they have to get out of that, and they're like you said, they're constantly being pursued, and so they have to devise clever ways to get out. I think of the Matt Damon telephone book scene from one of the Born Identity things, and I was like, "Who came up with this?" He's getting this guy with this telephone book, and I said, "But it made sense. It's like
Yes, it
that's
does
what
make
he
sense. Yeah.
had on hand."
Yes, exactly. Yes, because real fighting doesn't have rules. I've been into fights in the Philippines before because that's just what happened there. And it you will go down if you need to go down. And if you have to stay where you are at just to defend yourself and to survive, then do it. Like there's no rules at all. And I would like to go back to my other favorite film. This is purely martial arts with firearms a little bit. The Man from Nowhere. It's a Korean movie, and it's the martial arts there is so wonderful because if you look at the fight scene in The Man from Nowhere, there's no rules at all, nothing, because that fight scene could happen any time of the day. And that's why I love those types of fights. It's those types of firearm play because any a lot of people think that just because they see it on in Hollywood, they have that misconception, oh, this is what's going to happen in real life. No, it's not. It's going to put you in danger. So I would rather have you watch something almost realistic or close to realistic rather than have this ideal notion in your head that, oh my God, I'm going to survive this firearm. If they shoot me in the leg, I'm still gonna survive that. No, that's not always the case. So
Yeah, we were in scouts, my family and I, and we went through different gun safety, hunter safety courses. We were able at different stages of their, I've got adult children, but their development, we did, pistols, shotgun, rifle, black powder, and the core thing. Obviously, when you're taking a bunch of teenagers to a safe course for all that, it was meant to be fun, but it was also the main message was always safety, always safety.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I really like about how you operate and what I've seen. You're doing some film, and you mentioned Charlotte, and I should have mentioned that early on. We're in North Carolina, and I find I'm a little bit north in High Point, but I find that the film industry is absolutely poised for tremendous growth,
Yes.
really in kind of like a maybe a 4 hour radius of you guys. I mean, it's Savannah, Atlanta, Richmond,
Mhm.
the coast, Wilmington, Asheville. There's a really a lot of great opportunities and a lot of excellent filmmakers. And Sean Noronha, his movie Blackout. I'm very excited about that movie just because I think it's a great concept. You worked with the crew, and Sean, I'm not speaking for him, but when I talked to him, he was very impressed by you as
Thank
an
you.
actress and in your work. So you actually, I think you got a part now in that. Is that right?
Yes. I actually auditioned for. I don't know if Sean remembers this, but I actually auditioned for Nicole's role.
Okay.
Yes, and then he was like, I really like the way you do things, so I'm gonna write something. I was like, yay! So I was just happy because most of the time I'm just in the background doing stunts and just telling people how to fight. And now it's such an honor to me for him to even consider me in that role. And that's why it was when we were training Nicole and Kevin, it was very important for us to have that chemistry before we even get on set. So that's yeah, we love training people.
Yeah. So, what was that like for you guys? So when you first met Nicole and Kevin, how did you evaluate their readiness for whatever was required of the film, and then and what was the, I guess the ramp up time to get
Mhm.
ready to shoot actual scenes?
Okay, so this is going to be a little bit intensive. So when they came over to our headquarters, what we made sure of first, as usual, safety is what do they have issues with in their body? Do they have any physical ailments that we need to consider before we even get started? Do we need to make sure that certain medications are available? So because that's very important. A lot of people don't understand how your body reacts to new things, especially physicality. So when we ended up training, we had to train 2 days straight, nonstop. They got there into the headquarters Friday night. By 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, we started training from endurance all the way to strength, and then make sure that when they're at that level of intensiveness, like of tension and stress, they know how they relax themselves when they're holding a rifle, when they're holding different types of weapons, bladed weapons. We had to make sure that they know how to calm themselves down, because that will portray on screen. They could use those emotions on screen. And so we are very fortunate enough to have Nomad on our in our team, that he was the one who curated that type of workout. So Nicole did fantastic, Kevin did fantastic. I have never seen so many like I have never seen two people so dedicated and so fast at learning things. And it was just striking to me. So that's why I
Wow.
love them. Yes, they're so quick. Like in 2 days, they already know what the movements are. So that's we're very fortunate.
That sounds like a lot of work, but a lot of fun too.
Yes, yeah.
Are you able to speak to your role, what you're doing?
Yes, a little bit. I am, as what Sean Nerone said, that I am an antagonist, but to what extent it will be a little bit puzzling.
Okay,
So, and we made sure that when we were training, Nicole and I had that chemistry already. When we were training the fight scenes, we were training, and we were making sure that even when we were eating, we were talking about our roles. I was like, it's gonna be so hard to look at you and like just full of hate. I'm
oh,
like, oh, yes.
I'm glad you said that.
Mhm.
Thank you. The reason I'm glad is because I told this when I was talking with Sean and some folks from his production. When I was filming, I didn't know Nicole, and we were filming some scene, and it was in a home, and she was supposed to look at me
Mhm.
like really unhappy with me, and I didn't know we had just met, and she seemed really nice and everything. We got in there, and I'm a new actor, and she's been acting, and she looked at me. She looked so mad at me, and I was like,
She's
it
a good
really threw me
actress.
off. I was like, I told her after, I said, I really thought you were mad at me. And she goes, good. And
Yes, she's so fantastic to work with. She's like this tiny little ball of fire that just like explodes when she needs to and just goes back to normal afterwards. That's just like so cute. And then so it was just every time I look at her, I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I can do it. I was like, you're just so cute. And that's what I told her. I'm like, it's gonna be hard, but hey, we gotta do what we gotta do.
that is interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And just, I think I can say this, and if not, I could take this out. But Blackout is about uh, an assassin who has dissociative uh,
I
memory
mean,
lapses.
yes, yes.
She does not necessarily remember some
Mhm,
of these events that tie into her work, if you will.
mhm. Yes.
And the plot is more involved than that. And there's some excellent plot points from the little that I understand about it. Um, but that will be, you guys are close to or have wrapped filming?
We're close to it.
Yeah.
That's why we came back. I just came back from training because I wanted to make sure that I am able to convey that on screen. Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm looking forward to that. I'll be excited to see what else you're doing. What do you have any other films that you've worked on recently, or I know you can't discuss, things that are forthcoming and all that, but is there anything you care to share about some of your team projects or your projects?
yes, we actually have a couple down the pipeline, and we're meeting with another producer this week for a martial arts film. And then next year we have another one, but I can't say what it is about. But there will be fight scenes there that needs to be done, and hopefully I'm part of the cast, but if not, hey, I'm okay with that as long as I keep everybody safe. I'm good for that. And there's going to be more. There's going to be a couple more courses, and hopefully next year we can have courses purely for stuntmen alone. And then that's what we're aiming for. And I myself will be getting into stunt driving the moment that my yes.
Do you know stunt driving, or is that something like, do you go to a master instructor of stunt driving?
I'm going to one, possibly in New York, because I've already connected with the stunt drivers there, the instructors, and that's what I want to get into because it gives me an excuse to drive fast. So,
That's brilliant.
yes.
That's absolutely brilliant. I love watching the scenes of the filming of some of these, because how do you get a good shot when the car's going doing all this stuff and the jumping? And have you set any parameters like, okay, I want to learn how to drive fast, but I'm not doing any jumps, or I want to learn how to do jumps, but I'm not doing any rolls or anything like that? Like, what are you looking at?
From my little knowledge of it, because I'm still getting into it, there are markers. It's almost the same from what I've known. There are markers that each car needs to stop at. It's like, oh, it's almost like the same as like the markers that an actor needs to step on for the camera. That's what I understand from it, but I might be wrong. So that's why I'm very excited to get into that world because, hey, if I can do stunt driving as much as I can, then I will.
Okay, and what appeals to you about that?
It's more on the adrenaline that I like.
Okay.
Yes, I like the adrenaline of it, and then also, hopefully after stunt driving, I can go to rigging. That's what I like as well. Like if they basically attach you to something and they just drop you from a very high like building or they could pull you that type of stunts that I want to do.
That's fantastic. This is so exciting. What is it about what you do in film and your stunt work and your choreography, combat choreography? Uh, what is it that you would like to share that most people don't know? I think you talked about realism in film. You talked a little bit about the preparation for and the importance of learning safety and everything. What's something else that stands out as you tell people what you do?
Learning multiple skills that that I really want to take because I did not have this luxury in the Philippines before. I I could not get into this world. I just wanted to learn as many things as I can. And I'm always up for another challenge. So if I could find something that's challenging to me, I will constantly do that until I feel like I'm at the level that I can teach people, or at least I'm at the level that I can be up to par with the other instructors.
That's fantastic. I don't know of anybody else in this region who is doing what you're doing at the level that you're doing it at, with the love with the team of expertise. Everything from weaponry to vehicles to um, the martial arts part. Um, do you feel there's expansion all over in the
Mhm.
Carolinas? Atlanta, I read they just a couple more people are Kevin Hart, I think somebody else are opening new studios over there and production. I may be wrong, but to me it seems like this area is just poised for tremendous growth in film. And
Yes.
you guys are situated right where, I mean, it's kind of like be a historic moment for this industry, and you
Mhm.
guys are right there. I
We
don't you think?
yes, and we didn't even intend for that to happen. I was surprised that there were so many things popping up out of nowhere, and then and everybody, a lot of people has started contacting us about what we do, and then because they have new movies coming out, and I'm like, oh my God, how can we deal with this? So we had to. I actually had to back out of one project because it was just getting too much. We just didn't have time for ourselves. We didn't have time for our personal life. So it was just like, I think we need to stop for a second and we just need to breathe. I don't want my team to be exhausted. Uh, I respect them fully because without them, I would just be doing the same thing as I doing before. And so we had actually really had to stop a couple of contracts. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think that as filming resumes,
Mhm.
which I think hopefully will be very soon, for a lot of the major studios. And you know, the nice thing about Charlotte too is the mountains are just a couple hours away, the beaches are a couple hours away. You've got
Yes.
big cities you can film in, you've got a lot of rural areas. Um, it really does offer almost anything a film production needs
Mhm.
right in this area. So but at the same time, there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of these Sean is I think really got a gift and could really do a lot in that area. Um,
Yes. Yes.
I've met a lot of writers, a lot of um, actors and actresses. We've got UNC School of the Arts here in Winston-Salem, which is world renowned for producing directors and writers and actors and actresses. SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, I think is what it is. They're adding onto their filmmaking. Um, I just think that we're poised for a lot. You know what I'd like to do is I'd like to ramp up my podcast. I want to do so like I could come maybe invite myself. I'll be glad to pay and come and you guys could teach me, some of these moves that you taught Caitlin. Um,
Sure.
there's a guy I noticed I connected with he wouldn't know me, but I've connected. He's kind of involved. He does skydiving, like that's his profession is, and so you guys should connect, and then you guys could maybe trade that. But there's a lot of talent and skills in this area, um, and I'm excited to be on the fringe and celebrating it because I think film is ready for a renaissance, and
Yes.
we're going to see, the era of film of theater going has changed
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
streaming, and so I want everybody to win. Um, and I appreciate your time today. Is there anything you want to share about how people can connect with Argon Core, how they can connect with you,
Mm-hmm.
um, and how they could enjoy the benefits of what you offer in terms of knowledge, experience, professionalism, intent, focus on safety, specifically to film.
They can connect with us by going to our website, argoncore.com. And if they need to speak with me, they can simply call that number that's on the website. And then we could go on from there with our social media because of what Meta has done to our social media. I can't even post so much about any type of firearms there or even
Oh,
fighting. So it's okay. I mean, it is what it is because I tried to post one thing about it was just some random joke that I shared with my teammates and I got flagged right away. Like it was 0.5 seconds. I posted it and it's just I got flagged. And I'm like, okay, so we are on the radar now. So that's why if they want to know more about our stuff, they can just simply go to the website and any type of announcements will just be on the on social media, whatever posts we have. Mhm.
okay, interesting.
Mhm.
I think where I can add value in the area of film, in addition to trying to get into the acting and supporting my daughter, is the networking part because I really enjoy connecting people and watching people enjoy the benefits of networking connection. So I will certainly try to support you guys any way I can. Argon Core, what a cool name! I want a shirt. I want a hat that says Argon Core. How did you come up with it?
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you asked that because nobody ever asked me that.
What?
Yes. And the argon is an element
Yeah.
in the periodic table and it's used for everything. You could actually even use it in wine, I think, as a preservative. And yes, so that's why we're argon because you can use us to any for anything that you want in your film. So we have firearms, we have guys that specialize in vehicles, we have guys that specialize in weapons, any type of samurai, hand-to-hand combat, everything. So that's why we're Argon Core. So we're basically the core of that element.
That is that is great. I like to write and I like to come up with I write different things, poetry, short fiction. I'm working on my second novel and I like how words interact. And Argon Core just has such a cool natural flow to it without understanding the meaning, but to hear what you're saying about it, um, I really do want a shirt and a hat. How do you guys sell shirts and hats?
I will try. I
No,
will do
I'll pay
that.
for it. I just wanted I do you let people come to your studio? Like aside from a project, do you ever have like drop-ins? Like people just say, "Hey, I just want to see what you're about."
For training, definitely. Yeah,
I
they can come to our headquarters. Yes.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we train almost every yesterday I trained we had to do endurance training yesterday and now we're training again for firearms and all that stuff.
That's so cool. Paula, I really appreciate your time and um, sharing this information. I think people will really enjoy it. I'm looking forward to seeing your work and that of your teams in Blackout and other projects. I'll be watching to celebrate your success and to support your films and your work. And I appreciate what you're bringing to the world of filmmaking and film going so that people can appreciate it safely. And
Mhm.
thanks again for joining us on For Your Lore.
Thank you as well for having me. This is Argon Core for Your Lore with John Adamick.